Engine 1 from car 1. Car 1's on scene. If they've been command, give me a CAN report.
What's going on, everybody? This is Mike Goldstein, stickers of the C.A.N report. Nozzle top, everybody. I'm laughing because this is like my third time trying to do my intro because I kept screwing things up. You live and learn, right? But I've got Brass and Bunker Company in the house today. They are two brothers, Taylor and Lance Dollarhide. They have a fantastic clothing brand. They got a great label and a great message behind it. And I wanted everybody to know who they are. So we've been talking back and forth online, and I love their attitude and what they're bringing to the table. So I want you guys to know about them. Lance and Taylor, thank you so much for being on the C.A.N report.
Yeah, it's good to be here.
Absolutely, guys. I'm happy to have you on here. It's going to be a lot of fun. And to start right off, I always like to give a shout out to the other sponsors I got. So Engine House Designs. Engine House Designs is a firefighter-owned business in Memphis, Tennessee. The owner is Cody Hill. He's doing fantastic stuff, giving some great products for your union, for your fire departments, your businesses, whatever you got. You need, he has got it. He works well with his customers. He's very patient, and the turnaround is really, really quick. He's made my hat. He's made the flag behind me. He makes chore coats, patches, stickers, you name it. Engine House Designs has got it. He's igniting the pride across the board, and that is his motto. So all check out Engine House Designs. And speaking of Engine House Designs, we also have the Kitchen Table Foundation. They have now joined forces. So if you need swag from a Kitchen Table Foundation, you can reach out to them, and it's getting made by Engine House Designs, which is fantastic. So they have some really good product. They have really good shirts. It all goes towards helping the Kitchen Table Foundation, which is a nonprofit organization helping firefighters, first responders, EMS, police, military, veterans, you name it. They're here for us to help us. And it's for mental health. It's for people who need to talk. They're really making their mark on that whole field of getting services to people who need it. So check out the Kitchen Table Foundation and also Engine House Designs. With that being said, I've got Taylor and Lance. Welcome, guys.
Cheers.
Thank you.
So we've got Taylor and Lance Dollarhide. They're brothers, apparently. Builders and the co-founders of Brass and Bunker Company, a first responder-driven apparel brand forged from grit, service, and self-reliance. Raised in Montana with dirt under their nails and the mountains as their backyard. The Dollarhide brothers grew up in the 1990s, skateboarding until the streetlights came on, camping, hiking, and learning early that no one was coming to save them. They were taught to protect their own, work hard, stand their ground, and never quit. In 2025, the brothers brought their paths together to grow Brass and Bunker Company, blending Lance's frontline experience in fire, EMS, and military service with Taylor's ability to build brands, products, and systems that scale. What unites them isn't hype, it's shared blood, shared scars, and the same code they were raised on: discipline, resilience, loyalty, and responsibility to the people beside you. Love it. Well, you know what? We're going to start with both of you. So you talk about like skateboarding and, doing all these fun things as a kid that we used to take for granted when the lights came on. So this is what really sparked this whole brand, this image you got of like being that grit.
Yeah, I think like skateboarding was really core to our youth. We were entrenched in it through most of it, right? Like breaking bones, breaking skateboards, looking the part, dressing the part. We were all on the path of like we wanted to be pro skaters, and eventually life got in the way. We said, well, it doesn't look like we're going to be pros, so let's go a different route. And so I think a big part of that was, I was telling my brother this the other day is that, I think skateboarding is such a great educational tool for kids to learn resourcefulness, resiliency, to get an ability to have a backbone, to overcome fear, to do things that are hard, to do things that are scary, right? And so that kind of like entrenched us in that mindset, through youth, just trying to trick 1,000 times until you stick it. And you're just like, I can't stop until I stick it. Or you're going to hit a rail on a handrail and you're like terrified and you just say F it and just do it. And you either eat it or you stick it or you just deal with whatever comes. And so, we kind of laugh about that stuff a lot. And that's very much what I think, Lance and I have shared, that kind of ethos and mindset of like what skateboarding looked like, what it felt like. There's a real now nostalgia around 1990s skateboarding, even 80s skateboarding. So yeah, it's definitely been an influence for us.
I love it. How about you, Lance?
Yeah, absolutely. With Taylor, the skateboarding, like I remember so many nights in the garage, especially during the winter here in Montana. The only place to skate would be in the garage. And I'd be up there or in the garage till shit, sometimes midnight, 1 in the morning, trying to land one trick, and that's that resiliency and that, never quit attitude. Like I'm not gonna go to bed until I land this freaking trick. And also like growing up on punk rock, and that has the same ethos that we want is like the DIY, do it yourself, don't rely on anybody. If whatever you want isn't happening, you want it to happen, like do it yourself, get it started, kind of like you say would like be contagious, get everybody going, and whether it's whatever you're wanting to do in life. If you want to get people going, then you got to be that person, be contagious.
Love it. Yeah, and reading your description, like you guys are saying, the brass and bunker isn't just apparel. You're saying it's a flag for those who run towards the heat. You guys got great like a message, like it's rooted. Like you guys are trying to make people understand, like we want to like bring our youth and our energy into our product, and you're really hitting on those notes that we all believe in. You talk about pride and carrying the flag, and it's fantastic. And I love that you're keeping it like raw and gritty. Like who is helping you guys deliver that, like your images that you're building on your product, like the shirts that you have, like they all grit no quit kind of thing. Like is that something you guys have is that what you guys talk about, or is it just kind of just brainstorming one day when, hey, this sounds cool?
Yeah, it's really just me and Taylor brainstorming. Whenever either one of us comes up with an idea, we'll shoot it at each other. And if we both like it, we go with it. If we don't like it, then we'll either try something different or just go a different route. But it's really just me and Taylor just talking. And, me being on the job, I also take inspiration from other guys and gals on the job, like things that they may say or things that they like. And I'll, think about that and bring it to Taylor. But yeah, for sure. It's mostly me and Taylor just doing our thing.
And you guys are like when you're brainstorming, because you guys are in different parts of your state now. Taylor, you're in Colorado. Lance, you're in Billings, Montana. So, like, how do you just text each other, call each other, and say, "Hey, all of a sudden, I got this idea. Let's start going with it."
Yeah, a lot of it's just like a quick little text. Hey, I got this idea. Taylor's the artistic one, so he's really good at, bringing like I'm not artistic, so Taylor is. He has that mind, and so I'll just like bring him an idea, and he does his magic with it, and he's got a phenomenal brain and that artistic mind that I was not born with. Taylor was. I could come up with ideas, but bringing it from my mind to being real is not in my suit. So that's all Taylor. And then he's only 8 hours away, which most people think that's a long ways. But when you live in Montana, it's not that far.
I've
So,
honestly never been to Montana.
oh man, we don't talk in terms of how many miles away is that? We talk in terms of hours. How many hours is that?
That's like Texas, right? Like it's live away from each other.
Yeah, absolutely. So, and I go down to Colorado all the time, at least 2, 3 times a year. So when I come down, that's our time face to face to brainstorm and, we could talk for hours, into the night on business ventures and what we want to do and stuff like that. So yeah, with me coming down there, I always go down there because they have awesome concerts.
Hmm.
And yeah, the big bands don't really like to come up to Montana very often, so I gotta travel out of state to go see some good music. So it gives
Gotcha.
me a good reason to get out of town.
Good. And Taylor, like you were, because like your brother's saying, you're the brains behind the operation, if you will. You bring everything to fruition. Are you doing the artistry on things? Are you doing like, graphic design? Like how do you get all of these logos together?
Yeah, I've been doing this stuff for a really long time, and I've been around a lot of different like aspects of design, so I've acquired a ton of skills when it comes to creative endeavors. So, like my day-to-day job is I design software. But like in my past, I've like designed logos. I've designed apparel. Even before we started Brass and Bunker, I was running like 3 different apparel brands. And, and I shuttle those down to focus our energy into Brass and Bunker. But definitely, just using the skills that I've been, blessed with and been able to hone and craft and really try to bring that ethos to what we're trying to say and what we want to do. And just bring everything to life. It's been a really fun endeavor, and I think every day, every week, every month, it just gets better and better. And that's what I think is really getting more exciting as we go, is that, we're starting to get traction. People are starting to find us, sometimes places like TikTok don't necessarily like us. We do certain things. There's a couple shirts they don't really like and they won't put on our shop, but that's not what we're there for necessarily. We're there to really be authentic and be genuine and really lean into this thing what we want to create. Like we're about legacy. We're about building something that matters, that lasts the test of time. At the end of the day too, like we wanna give back as much as we can.
Mm.
And so like we've had some people reach out to us who wanted to have some support, and we've helped out in some of those arenas and just trying to really be present and put megaphones in front of other people's social needs or whatnot, their missions. But we definitely want to make sure that this is honoring the people who do the hard work. And
Mm-hmm.
I think that that's really what inspires me to make things that I feel proud to wear, that I feel proud to create, that when people put it on, they go, hell yeah, like I'm stoked, I'm pumped. It's just part of that shared collective of motivating moving forward. I'm very like strong in like the things that you say to yourself. If you're always doubting what you're doing, it's just going to fill you with doubt. You need to have those momentums, those things that create that flywheel, that just keep the momentum going. And eventually you're going to get so much momentum that it's just going to be effortless in what you're trying to do. But I think where anyone's starting is like if you're in your first years of Proby or your 20th year, right? Like if you're a salty dog or you're a new dog, like what are you trying to do? Like it's joining this culture, it's joining this brotherhood that people challenge and refine and sharpen you. And I take that sentiment wholeheartedly. And that's deeply rooted in how we operated as skateboarders when we were kids, right? Same thing. Like you would try to stick a trick and be like, or like Lance would be like, I can't stick it. I'm like, yes, you can. Try XYZ. And we would just do that same thing all the time, like always riffing off of, hey, if you just did this, you could stick it, right? And that's a lifetime of Lance and I just having that dialogue. And now being 8 hours apart, it's just a part of what we've always known. So it's really easy for us to just be like, what do you think? I don't know. That's stupid or that's awesome, whatever it takes there. So
I love it. Actually, that's where I first found you guys, was on TikTok, and I just started, I'm like, man, I love the stuff. And I didn't even know who you guys were, but I was sharing it. And that's how I came across it and started talking to you guys. And I love what you're saying with that message, that, just anybody, if you're sticking with it long enough and you believe in what you're doing and it's organic and true, then people are going to see that and believe in it. It's I mean, you can be real too, like, hey, I'm just in here just trying to build a brand and make some money, like that's fine too. Like I think for in the world like that we're in, people see that real quick. You're real and you're trying to build something because you believe in the product and you want to give something back, or you like the message you want to give to the public, and if it's on clothing, they're wearing it on their back, like, and you're like my shirts, like I don't make anything off of my shit. I really don't, but I believe in what the message is. And so when I see somebody wearing my shirt, like passion is contagious, like I love that because they believe in that message. That's what I want them to do. I literally can give two shits about the sale of my shirt, but the fact that they're wearing something that I believe in, that's what means something to me. So like what you guys are doing, you have a solid message behind it. If you're going to make a buck, you're going to make a buck because you got to pay for your business, but you also have a meaning behind it. I like that.
Absolutely.
So Lance, did you always want to go into the military?
Well, that kind of came in when I realized I wasn't going to be a pro skateboarder. The dream was always to move to California and be a pro skateboarder. That was always the dream. And, live the life of a pro skater and go to punk shows every night. But, the closer I got to graduating, the more I realized, yeah, I don't think that's going to happen. So, um, when I was getting towards the end of my high school, Iraq was kicking off, 03, 04, 05. I graduated in 05. So, when I was a kid, I always, I don't know if I'm sure other kids did, played war in their backyard, and I always looked up to people in the military. As a kid growing up, I had a lot of respect for vets and pretty much anybody who served. So I was like, well, I don't really have any plans. So to be honest, I just wanted to serve, and I literally wanted to go to war. My Iraq was huge and is all over the news every day. So I was like, I'll serve. I'll try it out. And I initially joined the Guard because I planned on going to be a paramedic. And when I went to basic, I came back and I actually loved the Army. I loved it. How gritty and insane it was, the shit that you're doing on a daily basis. So I decided to go active duty. So in 07, I went active duty, and shit, I was in Fort Lewis for like a month, and I was already shipped off to Iraq. So it was really quick. Trial by fire really is really quick turnaround to be going active duty, and then a month later you're in Iraq.
Mm-hmm.
And I lived that life for about 4 years, and after my second deployment, I knew I couldn't do that for 20 years, that it's a tough life, being in the military. Especially if you're like, wasn't married or had kids, but if you do, like, oh man, it's even harder, and seeing a lot of guys fight their demons, and it seemed like the more deployments they had, the more demons they're fighting. And man, we're losing more guys to suicide than we were losing in combat. And, I didn't want that for myself. So, I started deciding to get out, and so I got out after my second deployment and went straight into school, paramedic school. And for some reason, when I was a kid, I always thought ambulances were the coolest things. I'm like, people doing medical shit in the back of a moving vehicle, like, that's freaking awesome. And I loved it. I still love being a paramedic. After 10 years of transport, you kind of get burnt out doing the same thing over and over. And so that's why I decided to change gears and went to the police department. And it was fairly quick that I realized that I didn't want to do that. I give praise to all the cops out there. They got a tough job, man. They do the worst of society has to offer, and to do that day in and day out.
Yeah,
man, it's tough.
And it sucks too, correct? Because like when we show up, everyone's like, "Oh, thank God you're here."
Yeah,
everyone's happy to see when people we show up. People are happy to see us. Usually, when the cops show up, people are not happy to see them.
Absolutely,
and they get spit on and shouted out.
Yeah,
and, but nobody really does that to us for the most part.
And that's what I told most of the guys. I knew all the guys on the department from when I was a transport medic. So when I got hired on, most of them knew who I was. So of course they asked, like, why did you leave the police department? And that's one of the things I said. I'm like, 9 times out of 10, when you show up, they're not happy to see you. You get this F you pig, and even you could go on somebody getting the shit kicked out of them, and you go and help them, and they're still cussing you out. And you're like, what the heck?
Yeah.
And being a paramedic or a firefighter, like, everybody's happy to see you when you show up, and
it's funny because when you're doing calls, and you're helping to calm the situation down, the patient's pissed off, and you're like, you got to bring them in the ambulance and try to hey man, I'm not a cop, so just tell me.
I had $1 for every time I said that.
Right?
Hey man, I'm not a cop. I don't care.
Yeah, I don't care, man. Did you take anything? I'm not going to tell them. All those things, you're shouting at the cops, but I'm not a cop, so you can be cool with me. It's just so funny how that goes. And But I love that, and I think that we do a great job though with working with our fellow brothers and sisters in the police
Absolutely.
force. That I think it's really now gotten a lot better. Honestly, I don't know if it was ever bad. I don't think it was bad, but I think we definitely have more of a rapport. Like we know that we're in this
Yeah.
together, and I feel that bond. Like when I'm doing calls with the cops, we all usually kind of roll our eyes and look at each other like, "Oh shit, here's this
Yeah.
freaking crazy dude again," and we have fun with it. And
Yeah, absolutely.
I don't know about your station, but like for me, like we have the police stop by and hang out. Like, they use our bathrooms, they'll use the microwave to nuke up their food. Anything that they want, we'll give it to them. And we're happy to do it because we rely on them as much as they rely on us.
Yeah. I wish they would. I don't know if they don't want to be an inconvenience, so usually they won't stop in. Sometimes we'll see them like in our parking lot. They'll park there to do their reports or whatever. But maybe I should start talking to them and seeing if just letting them know that they could stop in at any time. We should probably do a better job of that. We have a good rapport with them, but I just don't know if they just don't want to bother us or what.
Yeah. We always tell them like it's an open door with us. Like you guys got key to our station. So like
Yeah.
come on in and sit down. We've just made food, because we're always cooking, right? So like
Yeah.
come on in, sit down, have breakfast or have lunch or dinner. And, if we got leftovers, help yourself. And some of them do. And some are like, oh, no, I'm fine. Even though they, you could tell they want to. But it's great to be able to tell them like, hey, our home is your home. You're doing the same job we're doing.
Absolutely. Like, especially knowing that they're stuck in that car for, I don't know what the cops' shifts are where you work, but here they work 410. So 4 days in a row, they're in their car for 10 hours a day.
Yeah.
So it's nice just to let them get out of their car and kick back and sit at the table or sit in the recliner. I don't care.
Right. No, absolutely. Now, Taylor, I was looking at your bio, and I know some cool stuff, man. You been teaching college courses by the age of 23.
Yeah.
And you were teaching like creative teams and doing all this artwork stuff. Were you a natural, like, did you draw when you were a kid?
Yeah, like all the time. Like I did this stuff not even knowing what it was. I just drew it all the time. And this it really accelerated. Not really anyone in our family is artistic. And I just picked it up and just had a knack for it and could see the world differently. And I went to school, and I would say for design, and I would say probably 98% of the people I went to school with had no business being there, right? Like just to like be successful on that program, you had to be highly skilled just walking in. And that's where like I went through this program and accelerated and graduated. And then 6 months after graduating, I started teaching at the same college I went to.
And that was Valor Christian?
No, it was a different
Oh,
college.
that's a high school.
It was a trade college called Westwood. And so I taught I taught design courses that help people like learn software to like get into the design industry, but I also taught people how to draw for video games.
Oh, cool.
So like, how do you start this process of like moving into game development and creating artwork for that? So I taught a lot of courses around drawing, like how do you draw people? How do you draw creatures and characters? And that was pretty wild being 23, 24, and most of my students were older than I was, and I was like, shit, this is crazy. And so I did a lot of stuff. I've been around, been able to kind of apply that resourcefulness and think through and see gaps where there was no one else could see the gap, and start finding my way through that stuff. So, and I've kind of evolved through my career and done a ton of different stuff. Like I worked in marketing departments doing the typical advertising type things, and then I went into working in designing streaming TV services like Stars and Sling TV, and really pushed into this arena of what you call user experience design, and now kind of people really call it product design. But really, how do you take these products that can generate hundreds of millions of dollars? So like with Sling TV, I came in when they announced after CES in 2015 to really push the innovation boundaries of what they were trying to do. And I was embedded as an innovation team, kind of come in to just push ideas through the system.
That's awesome. That's great. I love that you guys just like so opposite of what you guys do, and you came together to do this. I think is just badass. And with you guys developing this company, there's a lot out there now for fire themed or fire backed, clothing lines, right? We have a lot. I mean, I'm not even going to name them because there's so many. But how do you do you feel like you're competing with these other brands? Because you're fairly new building this brand together, right? And there is a plethora of all these things out there. How do you attract your customers to, like, I see, again, you're utilizing TikTok and Instagram and social media, which is a great tool, but how do you break through?
Yeah. I think that the biggest thing is that this is not a short-term game. If you wanted to play a short-term game, you just need to pump a mountain of money into it. But that's not who we are. It's not what we are. It's not what we're making. We know that it requires time to build a community. We're not under the impression that this is going to happen in 6 months. We're bootstrapping this ourselves. We're not funded anywhere. We didn't take any outside funding. This is all just self-funded. So, we want to grow this so that it can be a testament to our brotherhood here, but also to, like I was telling Lance, to our family, to my kids, to our nephews, like showing them like, hey, the world is changing a lot. And you need to start thinking differently about this world. Going into things like fire service and the military, and those things are pretty, they're not going anywhere. But anywhere else is getting really disrupted. And so, really kind of breaking the lie that I would say I was told when I left high school: go to college, get a degree, buy a house, buy a car, have a kid, have a family, yada yada. That's changing so much. And so, helping our nephews, specifically my kids, know if you build something yourself, there's so much more opportunity. Like looking today, like people who went into the trades, that's a totally different arena than it was when I was 18, 19 years old.
Yeah.
And, like telling my nephews that, like, hey, you want to get into a trade, grind through your 20s, create a company in your 30s, scale it through your 30s, and enjoy it in your 40s, right? Like, there's a path to freedom, but nobody, and instead of trying to chase these paths of debt, which are becoming slaves to the system, you're just entangled in debt forever. You could go down these paths and find this, but like helping people see that building something on your own is possible. And, and I think that that's really where, we wanted something we could believe in, something that we could feel ownership of, that we could feel like, I say to Lance all the time, it's like, if we could just do this full time, I would love this, man. Like, sick. And, and like have an actual space where people could come and hang out and do things.
Yeah.
And, that's the goal, but like, we're not here to try to do it in 6 months. We're here to invest, to show up all the time, every time, be authentic, and really just, really try to honor people. I think that that's the biggest thing for me. Like, as I've gotten older is I've gotten back to this place of respect and honor towards people who choose to do these things with their life. I take a lot of inspiration from folks like you and Lance that do this. In my personal life, in my fitness path, I'm taking influence from all that all the time. So I look up to what you guys do, and I think it's incredible, and I want to create something that honors that.
I love it, man. What a great message, for sure. And you're right. Like, I was telling my wife the other day, like, I love the fire service. I love being a part of it. I love helping people. But I tell you what, if I was able to do this full time, talking to cool dudes like you and get paid for it, like, I'm not asking for money from anybody, just let me clarify, but I'm just saying, like, if I could do this, because this is fun. So is firefighting, right? And so is helping. It is fun. That's why we originally signed up for it, is because we saw all the fun that people were having. But some days are not that fun. Waking up at 3 o'clock in the morning and having to be like ankle deep in piss and shit, it doesn't help sometimes. And you kind of, and then going out to like a tangent, like, it's cold, right? It's cold where you are, and it's cold where you are. And my last shift, it was like 0 degree temperature. And every time we had to go out at night, it's the kind of cold that makes you mad. Right. I was telling my wife that it's the cold that makes you mad. Like, you're not mad because you have to do a call. You're mad because it's cold, and that cold pisses you off. Right. So I was like, man, if I could do this at the comfort of my own home, and talk to firefighters and anybody else in this industry, I'm all for it. Like, you get to a point in your life, you're like, yeah, I love the fire service, but there's other things I don't want to have to do anymore. If I can do this and not have to, freeze my nostrils every time I step out in the cold, that'd be cool.
Yeah.
So I totally agree, man. Like it's a fun world. It's great to be able to build something that's your own and label it as your own, and it's not anybody else's. Because again, there's so many out there. There's so much different products and podcasts and clothing lines and sticker companies and you name it. Like the fire service has become a very commercial industry. I mean,
Absolutely.
I think it's fair to say that, right? Like
Yeah.
we're commercializing everything from my hat that I'm wearing to the shirt that I'm wearing or the jacket I'm wearing on you guys' product. We're all trying to sell something, but like always, you can be honest about it. Like, yep, I just want to make money so I can retire, or I'm building a product because I believe in it and I back it. Like there's all these different things out there. And I love that you guys are true to that. Like there is that backbone to it. There is a meaning behind it. And I was looking on your website and I love just the story you guys have about it, but also like the clothing line. I'm going to share the page real quick here so everyone else can. So you've got your page.
Yeah.
Cool. Yep. So I love what you guys got, man. That was when I went to your website. I saw the shirts, man. I was like, oh, this is some cool shit. I love it was like exactly how I liked how my clothing to be, and the hats and like this was kind of new, right? The first in, last out.
Yeah, that's a new one.
So that's cool. So like you guys like one day went like, hey, you know what? I like this slogan and this logo. Let's do it. And you guys just started working with it.
Yeah. Just start going with it, start creating. I'll make something, or Lance will send me something. We'll just riff on it. And we just text message each other. And then in the evenings we get on Xbox and just play Xbox and to shoot the shit that way too, So
that's awesome.
It's a good deal, It's a lot of just, I think that whole thing that you're talking about, like the look and feel, like Lance and I share the same aesthetic, like we really dig a lot of that. Like myself, I really only wear black, so it's like I'm very biased to everything that is black in there. So,
I'm about the color black as well. I'm not gonna lie.
So we're trying to get stuff that's going, that feels good. That's the right stuff we want to do. Playing on some social, cultural kind of things.
I like the fire things, by the way.
And I came in hot on that. I was really stoked about it. And then I was like, saw these people doing stuff and I was like, fuck it, let's go. So
yeah, that was all Taylor and he showed me that and I was like, dude, that is genius.
Yeah, that's cool. I think that is a great idea. Like you said, that is genius. I think that is a badass take on what we do and the Stranger Things. I think that's cool, man. Why not? Be inventive, be creative, right?
Yeah. And we're just getting started really with a lot of the things that we have. And I think right now we're trying to, grow the business and get a point where we can have the revenue to really invest in some new and even better apparel. Instead of just kind of sticking with what everybody gets. So
I didn't even know you still had I didn't know you guys had Fire Things hoodies. If I knew that, I would have bought one of those. That is cool. I love the look of that. That is badass. You guys are doing great things.
Yeah. And like the clothing is, we try to pick the clothing that we like, that's comfortable, but, not having the huge income that we have, we can't. My end goal, I'd like to have product that is union made, obviously, but, union made stuff is usually a little bit more expensive. So I think as we build and get hopefully bigger, we could start getting our products from union made shops that are here in the US. That's my ultimate goal.
Same.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's cool, man. I love that. That's your goal. Like you said, you got to start out somewhere. And when you start building that revenue, you can hopefully beef it up and get the American made products for sure. I have the shorts and I have the windbreaker and they're great. They felt good in the gym. I didn't really get to, I wore this when it was like 40 degrees for the windbreaker. And I was like, fuck it, I'm going with it. And it was pretty good, but I like the camo in the hood. I think that's a nice touch. I grew up like you guys, like I grew up in, in the 80s and 80s. So I was very much into, heavy metal, excuse me, heavy metal, Metallica, Megadeth, and all the thrash metal, all the gritty thrash metal. I loved that shit. And then in my 20s and 30s, I really enjoyed hardcore music. And that's what really kind of got my eye on your guys' brand. And it reminded me a lot of punk music and hardcore. And I love that it really resonates with me about like my brand and my logo and how I feel. And I think that's what really that's what like my eyes zoomed right in. It's like, man, this is really cool. Like I could totally dig this and wear this to a show. I could go see a hardcore band and people would be like, what band is that? I'm like, no, it's not a band. It's cool. Like it's just, even though I'm 46, I can still feel like I'm young with these kind of clothes. So I dig it.
Yeah, I was just in Louisville, Kentucky about a month ago for a show and ran into a bunch of people as wearing this hat, and they're like, I feel like I've seen that before. Like, what is that? And it's like, well, that's actually my company. And they're like, what is it? Is it? So a lot of people think it's like an ammunition company.
I can see that.
Yeah, and I was like, no, it's like a firefighter, first responder apparel. And like, oh, that's badass.
That's cool. And do you get any flack now as a firefighter? Are you getting any flack because you've developed a clothing brand?
Probably not to my face, but probably behind my back.
Yeah.
People are saying shit. But no, everybody's been cool about it. Like I have my group of guys, most of them I went to rookie school with. And when we first started developing it, I sent it their way, and I was like, then I asked them, like, please be like brutally honest, what you like, what you don't like. And all of them were like, no, man, it's badass. I like it. For some reason they haven't bought on, but they say it's awesome, but they haven't bought
You
on.
haven't
But
seen
I
it?
don't know if it's just because they know me. I don't know. But it's harder. It's hardest to sell to your peers, it seems like, especially when you all do the same job.
Oh,
Hometown
absolutely.
crowd is the hardest crowd. So
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely the hardest crowd is my own department for sure.
Now, Lance, what is it about the fire service that you like? Why? What? All of a sudden,
Well, first off is the camaraderie. From being in the Army. That's what I loved the most about it, was just as in the infantry. At the time it was combat arms, so it was all males. So we just give each other shit and you fuck around with each other. But then, you're deployed, and there's serious times and there's fun times, and you go through both together. And you kind of build this bond together. And the fire service is very much the same way. You have that brotherhood, sisterhood. You go through good times, you go through bad times, but what matters is that you go through it together and that you have each other's back. And even if there's somebody on the department that you don't like, maybe personally you don't like them, but you still have their back, because they're still one of you. And that's the thing I love the most about it. And obviously I love, doing the job, going on fires and rescues and extrications and all that stuff. And, the medical calls that we go on all the time, that kind of gets old after a while, but especially being a transport medic for so long, but I still enjoy being a paramedic and just doing the job, and being with the guys and girls. And the best time is just giving each other shit,
Yeah. What now for your department? Are you assigned an engine, an ambulance, a ladder?
We are non-transport, so we have a third-party company in Billings that does all the transport. We respond to all the medicals, but we don't transport. If it's like a critical call, the ambulance will take one of us.
Sure.
Or if they send a BLS ambulance and it's an ALS patient, and we have a paramedic, then the paramedic will continue patient care to the hospital until the call's over. But no, we're all assigned to engines, and we have 2 trucks and engines, and then we have what we call the squad. We have 2 squads. And it's really just like a explorer that has a captain, officer, and a paramedic, and their main job is just going on medical calls to alleviate stress on the engines, so the engines aren't having to go out as often, to
Hmm.
decrease the wear and tear on the pumpers, because it's a lot easier to beat the shit out of a $40,000 expedition than it is to beat the shit out of $1 million pumper, you know?
Yeah, I know exactly what you mean.
So yeah, the squads, and me being a medic, you know, I've done my fair share of time on the squad. It's an easy job. You literally just go on medical calls. But right now I'm assigned to Station 2, which is the rescue station. We're rescue techs, so your rope rescue, high angle rescue, your heavy rescue, extrication, water rescue. We have our jet skis there and all that stuff.
Nice.
Yeah,
So
Billings
we
has some pretty
respond.
good cliffs on the one side of it too, so they have to do some
Yeah.
stuff that's
So Billings,
high up.
geographically, on the north side of the city, covering the entire length of the city, is like we call it the rims. And it's basically like anywhere from 50 to maybe 80 feet cliff that runs the entire length of the city.
Hmm.
And you could like park your cars up top. A lot of people hang out up there, especially during the summer, because you could oversee the entire city. So you get a lot of people, and a lot of people do rock climbing and rappelling and stuff. So we get a lot of rescues. So we do a lot of high angle rescues off of the rims. And
Hmm.
then we have a bunch of bike trails that wander through these canyons that people get messed up on. So sometimes we have to go trekking through the canyon and call the helicopter in and stuff like that. But yeah,
That's
we
cool.
do a little bit of everything.
Well, I like what you were saying earlier, though, about the camaraderie of the fire service. I think that's really what attracts a lot of people to come into it. And obviously, we love to help people, but I think is the developing bonds and friendships that can't be broken. And what you hit on, too, is that even though we might hate each other, not like somebody, when those tones drop, like I said in a previous podcast, it's we're going to do our job. We're going to, you're going to think we're best friends. And then when we come back to the station, we go our separate ways. You can go to your room. I go in my room and
Yeah.
until the next call comes in. But I love the fact that you hit on the same thing, is that you may not like the person sitting next to you, but once you're there doing the call, it's like you're all working together as one unit and getting the job done.
Yeah, and it was very much the same in the Army too, you know, especially in the Army, you know, there's a lot of guys that you may not like, but when shit's hitting the fan and bullets are flying, they got your back and you got their back.
Absolutely. Now, are you guys doing anything with your brand? Do you do any donations? Do you do any sponsorships when people are looking to do, like, if they're doing a fundraiser or like a conference? They reach out to you, and any fundraisers or anything like that that you guys want to promote?
Yeah, like we say, we donate, 10% of our sales to back to firefighter organizations and whatnot. So, we're blessed to be able to start that path and that journey, and we hope to grow that and be able to, give back more and more every year, and really put money back into the service. Like it really takes all kinds to really, to show up and to do what you say you're going to do. And like early on, we had a fellow back east. He was about to have a kid, and he messaged us, and it's a really like heartbreaking story, but like, it was really an honor to like, even though we were really, really brand new. I think we are only maybe a couple months old at the time, but like, to see his family going through a pretty like difficult time, but we were to kind of be able to sit down and say, hey, we don't have a ton of money, but we can send you some stuff to just really try and support you the best way we can.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that that's kind of what, is really special in this first year that we're operating, and I hope, moving forward that we become more blessed so that we can give back. And I think that that's something that, as a part of me, not necessarily being in the fire service, I operate from a place of service. Like I'm here to execute, to build, to create, to do these things so that other people can shine from it. And that's like something that's innate in me, and it's deep inside of my heart of being able to impact other people's lives. And that's really at a core of what I want to do here is, you know, create something that people can be proud of, create something that people can feel loved by or cared for, like people are stepping up to the plate. And that's the stuff that, we're really honored to do with that. So has a lot closer view on that, but that's just my perspective of what we think about.
you're still attached to. I mean, by the fact that you're in this with your brother, and you're still providing a service.
Yeah.
And again, like maybe people hopefully understand what you're trying to go with is that you're still giving something back to them, like you said, like you're bringing that. Hopefully that hits them in the heart, and it's a message, and it's a brand and a logo that they can be proud of because you're proud of it. And you guys are bringing. It's funny. It sounds cheesy to say, but I honestly think like people associate themselves with whatever they're wearing. Sometimes, whether they wear a specific hat, or a specific jacket. I mean, like again, back in the day, my hardcore days, I always wore a scally cap. That was who I was. I always had my black scally cap on. That was my identity. That's like, I enjoyed wearing that hat. Like people are like, oh man, that's a really cool hat. Can I have it? I said, no, because that's mine. Like I broke this in. This is my, it's like my helmet, like this is mine, specific to my own. And you guys giving something that is hopefully somebody can identify with and feel proud about wearing it. It's still providing that service, and somebody can walk around and feel cool wearing something that you guys created, because you guys created it. It's yours. It's awesome.
Absolutely. Yeah, and I hope that in the future, as people kind of start hearing about us, or not just people, but even other departments, and if they're looking for donations for their benevolent fund or whatnot, that's what I would like to give to, because here in Billings, our local, we have a benevolent fund, and that go with people that aren't familiar with benevolent funds, it goes to people who are displaced from that have experienced their house on fire, and so we can give them money to go get an apartment, or not an apartment, but go get in a hotel until they figure things out, and give them money for clothes and whatnot, toys for the kids, mostly essentials. So that's what our benevolent fund does. So I'd like to, if as we get bigger, people get to know us more, and they're asking for donations, I would love to donate to other departments and their endeavors for their community to help their community out.
Oh man, it's a great mission. Absolutely. Yeah. And that's the thing too. I think some people, when you see websites and you got the clothing line, some people just, oh, they got money, they can just give it right back. And it's when you don't have a corporation, you're not building, like you said, this money is yours. It's something from you've earned in blood and sweat. Yes. And pouring it back into it. You're not making anything, so you can't really give it away. And even just giving product away is expensive. And some people don't realize that. And I love that is your goal. Is one of your goals is to help be able to give back to communities that when people need help. And like for me, it's the same thing. Like if someone's having a fundraiser or if a conference that needs something, I can't really give a whole lot of money. But you know what? I'll give you product. I'll give you a hat. I'll give you shirts. I'll give you whatever I can. If that's going to raise money, generate some funds to give back, whether it's 50 or $150, I'll do it, because it's my little way that I can give back to something. Sometimes it's just the smallest things that can help. So I love that, that you guys want to do that.
Yeah, I think, it's little momentum here and there really helps so many other people. Like the things that you say have been so gracious and said about us online is awesome. Like we're super stoked on what you're saying, and we're happy to support you and push you as much as we can, because it does take that shared kind of effort. Little things will really mount up over time, and it's really that creating, like feeding back, giving back, and that's it's not lost on us. Like we're extremely grateful for the things that you said about us, and having us on the show, and being able to tell our story a little bit. So all those little things are just big moments in this early stage that are just going to add that momentum for us to keep moving forward. And I don't know. It's just a part of the ecosystem of how we give, right? Like,
well, it's supposed to be brothers helping brothers, right? It's like I said, firemanship is not just how you do the job, but how you treat others. And that's one of the reasons why I wanted you guys on here. I want to put a face to the product. You guys are doing great things with sharing it out there. And I want people to know that you guys are real, that it's, brothers, skateboarding brothers, that you like Lance coming from doing your military, serving our country and coming back and then serving your community and in the fire service. And honestly too, like Taylor, it's not short, nothing is short on what you're doing. Like you're providing, like the fact you were teaching people how to do artistry and graphic design. And because it actually hits home to me, because my daughter, she's 16. She is actually a very talented artist. Every day I'm impressed by what she's drawn. She has a journal that she draws in daily, and it's so impressive. I wish I had it with me. It's the drawings in there. She keeps getting better and better and better. Like one of her favorite bands is Ghost, and she is so good at drawing the singer, and it's a lot going on with the singer. If anyone knows who Ghost is, he wears a skull mask, and he's got a lot of imagery and icons on him, and jewelry, and she nails it, and she really gets that. And she loves drawing like X-Men, and she draws all the guys from Stranger Things, and and I always tell her, I'm like, you know what? I hope you continue with this. I want you to be able to go to art school. I want you to learn how to be better at drawing this. And then someone like you, Taylor, who's going out there and giving it back and teaching people how to do either graphic design or how to be better artists is like Lance said, I can't do that. I have no idea how to do that. I don't know how to do that. So everyone has a purpose in life, and everybody has something to be able to give back. And Taylor, what you're doing, giving back, teaching others how to be artists is something not everyone can do. That's for damn sure. Honestly, Taylor, I could definitely probably teach you how to be a firefighter. I could teach you how to, right? Like we could both do it. Lance and I could get together and we could show you how to move a line and how to put on bunker gear. But you could try to tell me all different ways of how to draw a face, and I'm still going to screw it up, and it's going to look like it's a mutant. So,
oh man, it used to drive me nuts when I was a kid and watch him draw, and I would like try so hard to even get close to how he drew things, and it just looked like stick figures next to his. So I mean, eventually I learned that it's not in my wheelhouse, so I just gave up. Taylor just has that gift, and he's really the only one like he said before, he's the only one in the family that has it. So it's one of those things where either you have it or you don't, and if you do have it, you have to continue to like hone those skills and get better. But yeah, if you don't have it, then good luck.
It is definitely a gift. It's a talent. It's for sure. Yeah. It's like we have to train and try hard to be firefighters and be good at what we're doing. Whether you're a cop, even as a paramedic, like, it's not like you just woke up and like, hey, I know everything about medicine. Like it took years to be good, right? Like people like you, man, like whether you're good at music or good at drawing, like you guys pick up a pen, all of a sudden you just start drawing and it just comes naturally. You just figured it out. Like I'm always impressed by, especially like musicians who can just the savants that just pick up a guitar and they just start playing it. And it's like, how's that possible? Like, I can't do that. Why can't I do that?
Like, can I just have like 1/10 of your talent?
Right. Like that's things I get jealous of. Like, I want to be able to do that. Like, honestly, I want to learn how to play the banjo. I know it's a weird thing. Like nobody really knows that. I've always wanted to learn how to play the banjo. But my daughter, again, the same one who's an artist, she taught herself how to play guitar. Like, it's amazing how she was able to do it. She sat in her room for days and she just started playing. She went online because, I mean, kids got it made now. Like they can Google or there's apps for everything, right? So that's how she trained herself to be an artist as well, because she just went online and was watching videos of how to draw faces and hands, and she just started doing it. Same with the guitar. She just all of a sudden plugged in an app, and now she plays freaking guitar. I can't do that. Even with an app, I probably still can't do it. So my hat's off to people who have that natural ability. Now, if anybody's looking for information on like pretty much just anything about you, what you guys doing, whether they need assistance with how to develop a brand, or because again, I know we're all competitors in a way because we got competitive personalities, but if anyone's looking for information about who you guys are, what you guys do, can they reach out to you on your website or any other kind of venues?
Yeah, online, our website is there. Our email should be listed on our website as well. We don't have a phone number. We don't want to go down that avenue. There's something we're in right now, and we're not that full scale yet. But and if you're in a business context, you can find me on LinkedIn. Like I'm there and happy to chat. I've mentored hundreds and hundreds of designers and artists, and I've given countless levels of advice for people that are trying to start a business or trying to do whatever. And want to really help people see that pathway. Like my whole career has always been about showing people doorways and showing people staircases. This is the staircase. You can take this. Just go. I know you don't think you can, but you can. Just go. Just do it scared. Who cares? Just go. And and that's been kind of like my whole ethos from teaching is, the same thing of like, It's that little something that somebody said. I always go back to this when I started teaching. In the beginning, I was wanting instant gratification. I wanted to be, look at me, look how great I am and how I can just teach this person to become good. And then I had this realization where, specifically when I was teaching high school students how to do design, which is very difficult. But I realized that what I'm saying to them today will not come to fruition until they're later on in their life, like maybe 20, 25. And I just need to be hands off and just plant those ideas, or give them that nugget of like, this is what will give you what you need, so to say, and let it just be, and let them nurture it, and let them hone it, and let them come to that understanding. And what was really cool, years down the road, students who were in my classes, and I would say all these things to them, and they'd just be like, Mr. Dollarhide, I don't know what the hell he's talking about. They would go to college and they would come back and be like, I know what you're saying now. And that was like a real, that was the satisfaction of like, I said some things, whether they understood it or not. They listened to it, they took it, but it didn't come to fruition until years later. And that's, I think, one of the things that really motivates me in this stuff, is that if somebody sees something from Brass and Bunker, they may not like it today, they may not understand it today, but like down the road, they're going to go through a series of things and they go, oh, I love this, or whatever that is. Like, it's that same ethos. So
Absolutely. Honestly, it ties into what we do in the fire service. It's amazing how things, like, you don't think it does, but all of a sudden, like, exactly what you're saying made me think about us dealing with our probies or teaching at the fire academy. Like, when we get to teach them, they're not going to get it right off the bat, but all of a sudden, the next day, when they're moving a hose, and all of a sudden, like, they do it on their own and they do it the way you taught them, and they turn around, they smile because it was easier, or they actually figured it out. You get that moment of like, oh my God, like, that means something to me. The months later, after they've finished and they completed, and then they start their rotation in the new apartments, and you get a text or something, and like, hey, I just used that maneuver, or I just dealt with that same situation you talked about, and I get it now. Like, months down the road, right? Like, that's such a great feeling that the experience and knowledge that you gave to them wasn't going to happen right there in 30 minutes, but 6 months later, they understood what exactly we were trying to tell them about life. About the job, about understanding, like, it's not like, for me, I like to prepare my students, whether I'm teaching at the fire academy or teaching recruits, is that I want to prepare you for life. I don't care about the box being checked. I want you to understand life in the fire service, that it's not going to be easy. It's not all sunshine and rainbows, and whether it's like throwing a ladder or moving a hose or cutting somebody out of a car, it's not textbook. I want to show you about life stuff, because after the call, that's when it's really going to matter. And same thing that you just said, Taylor. It's like, months or even a year down the road, you're going to be like, your students could be like, holy shit, I get it. That was awesome. And when they message us back, like, that's such a great feeling, because I'd be like, wait a minute, who is this again? I don't remember you. And like, oh, you taught my class, last year. Like, oh, okay, yeah, go ahead. And they just give that great feedback, and that means so much because you just said it too. Like, if you're in it for your teaching or as a mentor, whether it's you're teaching art or teaching fire, if you're in it just for self-glorification, you're doing it for the wrong reason, right? It's not for the student, it's for yourself. And it's about we, not me. And the kids, whether they're adults or not, because now I'm 47, so I can say kids, they're going to understand real quick whether you're in there teaching for them or you're just trying to just glorify yourself. And they'll pick that up real quick. So I love that you said that, Taylor. It's great. So I'm going to actually show this site real quick for anybody that's looking and curious again, because I love you. Actually, I really do like your website. That's why I keep looking at it. You guys did a great job with this. So if anybody's curious, you can find Brass and Bunker Company on Instagram. They're very good on TikTok as well. They're always showing their labels, like the black hat. I really dig that. That is a cool shirt. And if you're looking for information about the product or who they are, honestly, you guys are pretty responsive on your social platforms, so you can hit them up. I also see here they do support GovX discounts, so you guys can, if anybody's got accounts with that, please hit them up with that if you're curious how that works. Question real quick, what is the Anti-Clown Club? I know what it is, but I just, for explanation purposes.
Yeah, like, we don't want clowns, right? Like we want people who are serious, people who are dedicated, who lean in. Like, don't just be a showboater. Like, you just need to be somebody who shows up, who cares, who puts in the work. Even if you're not friends with that person, like you guys were saying, like show up and have it back. And I think that that's really, that's it speaks to me in that space. And I would say probably the same for Lance. But I would say it's the same for everyone in every walk of life, right? Like,
Mm-hmm.
let's just, no more clowns, man. Like, let's be honest, good people with solid character.
I love it. Absolutely. Great messages, guys. Again, product is solid. Your message is solid. I love what you guys are doing. I'm looking to see what else you guys are going to come up with, because I really do. I think it's good stuff. It really is aggressive, edgy, gritty. I love that, dude. The shorts are fantastic, by the way. I love them in the gym. I love that you guys have also got women products as well. So if any sisters out there looking for clothing for yourself, get in on it. They're really lightweight and very, I love wearing them at the gym. All their stickers on here. You can check out their stickers. They got some cool stuff. I love it. So Brass and Bunker Company, two boys, two brothers, Lance and Taylor Dollarhide. Man, I appreciate you guys very, very much.
Yeah, we appreciate you. We're very grateful to have gotten this opportunity to chat with you and get to know you and, get our message out there.
Absolutely. That's what honestly, again, it is what it is, man. I just want to help people out. I believe in, it's not, I'm going to have every single clothing manufacturer on, because that's not who I am. I'm like, but when I see guys actually out there with a purpose and have a face to their actual brand, and it's firefighter based, I'm going to give you guys a shout out. I'm going to help you guys out because you guys are good to me. So I appreciate what you guys are doing very, very much. You guys are solid guys to talk to. I hope we can talk again. I'd love to bend your ears about more stuff for sure. So with that being said, we're going to end this episode now. And I always like to end it with my nozzle top. So you guys ready?
Ready.
We're ready.
All right. So you all be well, be safe, and nozzle top. Wow. You guys nailed it on that one.
Yeah.